What's your biggest weakness? It's a question that comes up time and time again during job interviews. So whether you've just had an interview or you've got one on the horizon, it is the question you're probably going to encounter at some point in your career. And there's a number of reasons why employers like to ask this question, but the main one is to really find out a bit more about you as a candidate and your genuine weaknesses. Because if they are going to hire you, an employer needs to know what weaknesses they might have to work on with you and what training they might possibly have to organise. There's quite a few different scripted responses to this answer that a lot of candidates use over and over again, and you've probably used them yourself or heard of them before in the past, and they include: I'm a perfectionist, I'm too self-critical, or I have a problem leaving work in the workplace, so I tend to work late at the office. These are kind of standard responses to this question because it turns a negative into a positive. And let's face it, if you're in a job interview, you want the employer to see the positive side of you, not the negative, because you don't want to hinder your chances of securing employment. But it is quite crucial that you answer this question honestly, because not only is it good for your own career progression and training path, but it also shows the employer that you're a genuine candidate and it helps to build rapport. So if you're thinking of how to answer this question, here's a few ideas of how to prepare for it. Firstly, you need to prepare just like you would for any job interview. So do your research on both the company and the job role you're going for. So visit the company website and read the job description to really thoroughly understand your market. And that's really important because it will help you to answer all of the questions in an interview, not just the weakness one. And it will help you to build your overall confidence, which is really important when it comes to interviews. Secondly, you need to really assess your own weaknesses and try and tie them in with the job role. So look back at your own career history or experience and look at the job role that you're applying to and think about what possible weaknesses you might have that an employer might need to know about. So for example, if you're applying for a sales role and you have previous sales experience, but the role that you're applying for requires face-to-face sales and you don't have much experience of that, that is a potential weakness. It's not a game changer and it certainly won't put the employer off of your application, but it is a weakness that you might need to work on. So identify 2 or 3 weaknesses that you can relate to the job role and make sure you list them down before you attend an interview. Next up, you need to think about your own strengths to counteract the weaknesses you're going to mention. So look back on your career history and work experience and think about some strengths the employer is really going to benefit from. So for example, if you've highlighted that face-to-face sales is a bit lacking in your work experience, what isn't lacking? Perhaps you've got a lot of experience in telephone sales, perhaps you've worked in call centres, or you might have a lot of customer service experience. These are all experiences and strengths that the employer is going to want to know about, and they're definitely ones that can counteract your weaknesses and you can turn them into a positive. So ensure you jot down your strengths that you think the employer needs to know about and that you know them well before you attend an interview. Next up, you need to now think about your own career progression and path. So you need to let the employer know that you've identified this weakness and that you're working on it. So highlight some times in your career history that you might have tried to develop on this skill, or maybe you're doing that now, or this could be a reason why you've applied for this role. It could be a new challenge and it could be something that you're excited about working on. Really just paint a picture to the employer that you're not afraid of a challenge and obviously that you're looking to develop on these weaknesses. When you are answering this question, just always remember that you are only human and the employer knows that. No one is perfect. No one is perfect in the workplace. There are always going to be things that you're better at and things that you're a little bit weak at. Just make sure that you're honest with the employer to help your own career progression and also just to build rapport with them and build a better relationship, and hopefully it'll help you out during the job interview.